Hi there. It's nice to see you. I was looking forward to seeing and speaking to you today because today I want to talk about fear and the antidote to fear, because most of what I'm hearing from my clients around the world right now is fear. Some version of it. People are feeling anxious, people are feeling scared, people are feeling uncertain, and while everyone is doing their very best to hold themselves together, there is still this underlying vibration of fear. And today I want to speak about the antidote to fear and how all of this change that's happening, while very unsettling, is actually something that's necessary for us, is offers a lot of benefits for our growth, even if it's horribly uncomfortable and uncertain, and how our human evolution actually is, this is one of the ways that it works. So, hi everyone who's joining in. We're talking about fear today and the antidotes, and why this change can be seen as something that is positive for humanity, even though the things that are happening don't seem positive, don't feel positive, are really scary. And for a lot of people, they're making life exceedingly difficult. And I think in the months to come, we're going to see a lot of people finding life very, very hard. So a few years back, when Nelson Mandela died, I was listening to the interfaith memorial that was taking place, and Archbishop Desmond Tutu was there, and I'm not sure which imam was there, but it was the very wonderful Rabbi Greg Alexander, who read out a prayer that I never forgot. And I thought about it the other day again. I just remember this prayer being really surprising, and it was very relevant at the time, and somehow that it kind of went into my head again, and so I Googled it, and thinking it might be relevant for now. And I want to read it to you because I found that one, and I found another one which I thought were quite surprising and pertinent. So here is the Jewish one, and then afterwards I will read you another one that was attributed to Sir Francis Drake, and they have similarities about them. Here we go. Disturb us, Lord, ruffle us from our complacency, make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude which arises from a shunning of the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans. Shock us, Lord. Deny to us the false Sabbath which gives us the delusions of satisfaction amid a world of war and hatred. Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by a half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears. Make us know that the border of the sanctuary is not the border of living, and the walls of your temples are not shelters from the winds of truth, justice, and reality. Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Sabbath be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action. That was the prayer that was read out at Nelson Mandela's memorial, at the interfaith ceremony that took place. And I remember at the time thinking, my goodness, why is that a prayer? Like, why would someone ask for such shaking up and such disturbance? But the request here is to help us wake up, help us grow, help us see things, and not be complacent in the false peace that we can talk ourselves into sometimes. And this prayer is so similar, and it was attributed to Sir Francis Drake from the year 1577. Disturb us, Lord, when we are too well pleased with ourselves, when our dreams have come true, because we have because we have dreamed too little. When we arrive safely, because we sailed too close to the shore. Disturb us, Lord, when with the abundance of things we possess, we have lost our thirst for the waters of life. Having fallen in love with life, we have ceased to dream of eternity, and in our efforts to build a new life, we have allowed our vision of the new heaven to dim. Disturb us, Lord, to dare more boldly, to venture on wider seas, where storms will show your mastery, where losing sight of land, we shall find the stars. We ask you to push back the horizons of our hopes and to push into the future in strength, courage, hope, and love. So again, it's a request to be disturbed. It's a request to be shaken up, and it's a request to be challenged, to grow more and to dare more and to be more adventurous and to be more creative, venture further from the shore, to dream bigger and wider, and not to stay in the safe waters, paddling in the shallow pools because we're scared to go out into the big waters. I just thought these two requests are so incredibly powerful at this time, because boy, have we been disturbed. Boy, are we being shaken. Boy, are we being taken right out of our safe waters. For some people, yes, there's not much that's changing, but we are going to emerge after lockdown into a world that has a lot of people in it whose lives have changed, and we don't know what the outcome is going to be. And so what I'm hearing, the reason I wanted to share these two writings with you is because we don't often look at being shaken and disturbed and upheaval as a positive thing. Like, yes, theoretically it's nice and change is good and growth is good, but we don't often, get excited and celebrate and appreciate when we really get rattled and our world really gets changed. And this is an opportunity to consider what is going on for you and how this shaking and how the disturbance that is happening right now is forcing you to venture into deeper parts of yourself, into seeing more about the way you choose to live your life and the things that you have chosen to make essential or not. It's forcing us to get creative. Someone really challenged me the other day about what can somebody do when they've lost their job and they don't have money, they've run out of money and they're sitting in lockdown. What does a person do? And we were just discussing the kind of the harsh realities of a situation like that. And while that's absolutely not true for everybody, it is true for some people, and it's going to be true for more people. And we were discussing how important it is to tune into our curiosity and our creativity, and to find creative ways of surviving, creative ways of seeing our skill set and being able to maybe barter. And we really are being challenged into a new world. And so the thing that I'm hearing from clients around the world, and I'd love to speak to more people, and I'm enjoying hearing, and it's challenging, and it's threatening sometimes to hear other people's fears, because then I have to engage with those fears myself. But what I'm hearing again and again is that the fears tend to not be of what's actually happening right now in this moment. They are about what might happen, what could happen, what has happened in the past, what might happen again. Usually it's not really about what's happened in the past, not really, because a lot of our fears are imaginary. And that's why I wanted to speak today about fear and the antidote to it. So the first thing is this challenging notion that to be shaken up, shaken and stirred like a martini, is a thing that creates a new chemistry within us, and that it can be a positive thing, even if it certainly doesn't feel positive at the time of being shaken and stirred. And the second thing I want to talk about is that fear being something that we create for ourselves is actually almost always imaginary. What do I mean by that? If you think about your life, even if you have had a pretty traumatic life with quite a number of really bad things that have happened to you, which is not the case for most people, but even if you have, the chances are that about 99% of your lifetime has been either positive and safe or neutral and pretty safe. So about 99% of an average life is spent in safety and positive experiences, wanted experiences, or neutral experiences that are not life-threatening in any way and that are not negative in any way. And if you think about that, that means that about 1% of your lifetime, you've had some pretty bad things that have happened to you. And when I say pretty bad things that have happened to you, I mean that 1% of the time was when the event was actually, in fact, occurring in the moment. You were in it, it was happening to you in that moment. It's about 1% of the time. And the other 99% of the time, it wasn't like that. Life wasn't horrific. So what does that mean? If you think for a moment how much of your time you spend thinking about the bad things that have happened to you, worrying about the bad, scary, negative things that might happen to you, I mean, what percentage would you give that? Would it be more than 1%? Would you give it 40% of your time that you spend worrying or thinking about negative things or thinking about the traumas that have happened to you or worrying about how you might deal with future traumas that might occur? What percentage would you give it? I'd actually love your comments to see what percentage of the time do you think you spend worrying about what might happen, thinking about bad things that have happened in the past, chewing on, ruminating on things that you've heard about that are scary things that you think, you worry, oh, I hope that doesn't happen to me, or I remember when that did happen to me, and what will I do if that happens again? So just throw out in the comments, like, what percentages of time of your life do you think you spend focusing on things that are scary, things that are negative, either real things that have happened or things that you're worried might happen? I'm quite curious to see. So now, while I'm waiting for your responses to come up, Nicole says a very big percentage. Andrew says perhaps 30%. Great. And others? Now, even 30%, not much, maybe 10%, except now with the time. Yeah, exactly. So usually maybe you spend less time worrying about these things, but right now, every day we are thinking about the things that might happen and considering, new possibilities of horrors that could unfold. But if you think about factually how much of that time you have actually been in situations that were scary and overwhelming or even traumatic or really negative, it's a very tiny percentage of your time. So maybe 10% is a great kind of percentage, and most people it's higher than 10%, but even 10% is 9% more than you need to spend, because we spoke about having real and present danger. And this is the thing that I want to say is the antidote to fear and the anxieties that are going on at the moment and any other time. Let me just see what people are saying. Nicole's saying, even if not about the actual traumas, it may be worries about things that may go wrong in relationships, etc. Absolutely. It's the things that we're scared will happen or that we think might occur. Dee says, equal parts worry and talking myself down from the ledge about that worry. Indeed, right now, so much worry about the next few months and how things will unfold and how little control I have over it. Absolutely. You're so not alone, Dee. I mean, that's what's happening for people. And I really hear this across the board from people right around the world. People are scared. And most of us are having to somehow talk ourselves down from the ledge. So here's the antidote to fear. Because 99% of the things you're worried about are not, in fact, happening. They're not happening. They're not happening right now. They're very likely not going to happen in the next 10 minutes. We spoke previously in one of these live sessions about the notion of clear and present danger. The antidote to fear and the antidote to anxiety is to become present in your moment, because your moment right now, 99% of the time, is safe and is either positive or it's neutral. So in terms of talking yourself down from the ledge, the essential ingredient from that is to just remember that what you're imagining is an imaginary thing. It is not happening right now. It doesn't mean you don't plan for what might happen. It doesn't mean you don't look after yourself. It means you need to ask yourself, is the danger clear? In other words, is this a realistic thing? Can it actually affect me? Can it actually harm me if it comes into my vicinity? If the answer is no, you've got nothing to worry about. If the answer is yes, you need to ask yourself, is it present? In other words, is it happening right now in this moment, or will it happen in the next 10 minutes? If the answer is no, then it's not present. It is not something that's happening realistically right now. So if it has to be both clear and both present in order for you to take deliberate and decisive action about that thing. 1% of your lifetime, and for most people it's even less than that, 1% of your lifetime requires you to take direct action about something that could possibly harm you. And the other 99% of the time, it's imaginary worries and concerns. I'm not meaning to minimize your worries and concerns. I know they are about real things some of the time. But in terms of really freaking yourself out and having an antidote to the fear that you feel, the skill is to ask yourself, is it clear and present? And if it's not, then become present in your moment. Look around you right now. Take a deep, slow breath. Take a number of deep, slow breaths. And become aware that you are safe right now in this moment. Become aware that good things or neutral things are happening right now in this moment. Tell yourself how everything's okay right now in this moment. And the reason for doing that, besides the fact that you will calm yourself down and that you can actually appreciate your moment, is that you're not sapping your energy. You're not leeching yourself. You're not blocking your brain from the kind of functioning and the abstract reasoning and the higher level thinking that it can do when you're not in fear. When you feel safe and you feel okay, you have a different kind of thinking, and I covered this in the last few sessions. The brain literally shuts down when you're in fear, and you're not able to think clearly, and you're not able to make decisions that are healthy and positive decisions for you. It often turns out badly when you make decisions in a state of fear. And so the best thing that you can do is to just become present. And really, it would be such a pity to miss out on what's happening, because something new is happening. There is big change. We don't know what it is, but we do know that change equals growth, change equals newness, change equals creativity. Many of the things that have happened in the world have happened at times when the world was in crisis. Many of the wonderful inventions, many of the solutions that we take for granted nowadays have happened in times of epidemic, in times of the Great Depression, in times of crisis, in times of trauma and disaster. And so this is a fertile time for really good things to be coming out. But if you focus only on how scary it is and what might happen, you're missing out on potential wonderful inventions and possibilities that are coming through for you right now, that are available for you right now. So change is vital. It is the way that we develop, and that's why I read those 2 readings at the beginning that are, disturb us, O Lord, please shake my complacency, because that is how we grow. I want to see what people are saying. Matthew says, that is a lovely thought. The trick is to always be present. Yeah, It's the antidote. I'm calling it the antidote to anxiety and to fears, to become present in your moment, because in this moment right now, that scary thing that you're freaking yourself out with is not in fact happening 99% of the time. And what is happening, you're missing out on. What a pity. You could be having a realization. You could be inventing something amazing. You could be relaxing and finding peace in your heart and appreciation for all of what you do have right now in this moment. Andrea says, always being present requires a shedding of so many old habits and thought patterns. It is a big change indeed. Well, my goodness, if you come out of this massive turbulence with the ability to just walk step by step, take a deep breath each time you get scared and bring yourself back to right now. Every time you feel afraid, every time you start getting worrying thoughts, every time you get anxious, every time you feel that terrible clenching in your stomach of the uncertainty and the unknown, remember that your brain is designed to fear and avoid the unknown, and all that it means is that there's change happening, and a change is the way that we develop. So yesterday we spoke about the shedding that needs to happen. I just want to read it again, some of these sentences. Disturb us, Lord, when we are too well pleased with ourselves. When our dreams have come true because we have dreamed too little. When we arrive safely because we sailed too close to the shore. Disturb us, Lord, when with the abundance of things we possess, we have lost our thirst for the waters of life. Having fallen in love with life, we have ceased to dream of eternity. And in our efforts to build a new earth, we have allowed our vision of the new heaven to dim. Disturb us, Lord, to dare more boldly, to venture on wider seas, where storms will show your mastery, where losing sight of land, we shall find the stars. We ask you to push back the horizons of our hopes and to push into the future in strength, courage, hope, and love. And what I wish for you and for all of us is that we have the courage, the hope, the love, and the strength to become present in our moment, whichever moment it is. Just come back into yourself, become aware of your feet on the ground, take a slow deep breath in and let it out as many times as you need to, and come into your body, come into your life, come onto your ground that you're standing on, and remind yourself that you are safe right now in this moment. Nothing bad is happening to you 99% of the time. Don't miss out on that 99% of the time. That is your life. Don't spend your life worried about that 1%. The 1% comes and it goes, and you apparently have made it through all of the times that you've had that have been tough. So just have some trust in yourself. Have some faith in yourself to be able to handle this. Whatever is coming, you will handle. You will be okay. And you will find that the people around you have the strength and the courage and the creativity to also handle their moments and to manage what's coming next. We don't know what's coming next, but change is the way we grow. And if we don't shed our skins, we cannot grow. So I hope that was helpful. If there are comments, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to sign off for today. I know that there are a lot of things going on for people, and our identities are being shaken, and people are feeling overwhelmed, and people are kind of exhausted already, and the reality of staying, more time in lockdown is kicking in. So I'll talk about that more in the coming days, but this was very important for me to say to you all. Michelle says, I can acknowledge that I feel dimmed. I enjoy being disturbed and do need to remind myself that dreaming again is a good thing. Thank you, beautiful. Thank you right back. I love this thing that Sir Francis wrote where he's saying, thank you for, when he says, like, basically dare to dream bigger. Michelle says, the universe always has our backs. Yeah, and we spoke about that as well. Remember, in trusting yourself. I think it was in one of the sessions on leaning into the loving unknown. That again, you're here now. You've made it through everything you've gone through in your life. You're going to be fine. There's no reason why not. And if you're not fine, if something happens that is what you're afraid will happen, you will find a way to deal with it. You'll have help, you'll have support, you'll figure out how to ask for help. You're going to make a plan and you will deal with it. And you'll get creative, and it's going to force you to grow, and it's going to push you into becoming more of who you can be. So don't you be afraid of it, okay? Don't miss 99% of your life because you're worried about the 1% that you'll handle anyway. Andrea says, feet on the ground and present. Thank you. You're so welcome, everyone. I'm sending you lots of love on this day, and just lean into this change, this turbulence, this disturbance that is happening. Open your arms wide and lean into it. Lean into it. We are all going to be changed, and that is going to be fascinating. Let's get curious about this. Let's relax, take deep breaths, remind ourselves that we're safe in our moments, handle the times that we know we're not actually safe, and lean into this with curiosity. Lean into this loving unknown. I'm signing off for tonight. I will see you all tomorrow. Wishing you courage to lean into this loving unknown.